I would like to share with you just a few thoughts and just a few things that cricket umpiring has taught me over the years. So here's a taste of my journey so far. I'm going to show you some photographs and touch on a few topics if I can. This picture up here is of me doing a plank, a prone hold. Anyone tried that? Yeah. Okay, can anyone beat 4 minutes? JL's pretty good at that. One of the things that cricket umpiring has taught me is the value of hard work and preparation, and it's something that I've always pursued with my full endeavours. Very big on what ifs. What if nobody picks me up at the airport? What if I haven't got the right currency in my wallet? What if something bad happens? Some of you might have seen me early on in my international career actually doing post-match warm downs, running around the oval after a day's play. Tried doing those sorts of things to keep me fit, keep me fresh for the following day. Very big on preparing for success and building on hard work. There's just no substitute for hard work. It builds confidence. I'd review 6 laws a day, Monday to Friday. If I wasn't working, Helen would often see me out the front of the house, catching a few rays in Sydney, summarising laws of cricket, doing laws exams regularly and working on the foundation tasks. So there's no substitute for that. The next picture, how to serve others. When I began my umpiring career with the Umpires Association in Sydney, I almost instantly got involved in their training committee. I figured that for me to know the laws and how to umpire properly, if I had to teach it to somebody else, then I had to know it myself. And so it created a really good stimulus to work hard and to learn things quickly. Interacting with people and trying to pass on your experience, you quickly realise that you have a responsibility to share, and that brings that humility theme back into it. So it's a good way of keeping your feet on the ground and knowing your place in the game. It also reminds you of where you started. And so continually, as part of education and training programs with umpiring associations and match officials, for me, I constantly get that reminder of where I started and where I came from. The next picture. This was actually a training event that we held in Sydney 2005. You might recognise some faces up there. Left to right, we've got Roshan Mahanama, Jeff Crow, Alim Dar, Billy Bowden. For those of you that know Billy, this would be the only photograph that I think I possess where he's not raising the crooked finger. So it's quite a rare photograph in the scheme of things. Rudy Coutson, one of the local chefs, the great Clive Lloyd in the background, Chris Broad, Daryl Harper, Daryl Hare, Steve Buckner, and our chief match referee, who's hiding somewhere in the audience, probably ashamed of that picture. The reason I show something like that is because umpiring is a team game. There's now 4 of us at a venue, and each one of us has to do our role particularly well. If we don't, the whole team suffers from its performance. The 2 blokes out in the middle are very much reliant on number 3 and number 4 doing their job extremely well, which you may or may not get to see. The 4th umpire's job is not just about looking after the towels and the drinks and match tickets. He does far more than that. This team shot also reminds me that team success is the most important thing. And so to be a team on the field, we also have to be a team off the field. So we do as much as we can to build relationships, because when the proverbial does hit the fan, you want to know that your mate has got your back. The next photograph reminds me of how to set goals and achieve them, and more particularly celebrate them. This was from my first Test match, and the great Courtney Walsh was captaining the West Indies side, and it has obviously special memories for me. I never started cricket umpiring with a view to becoming a Test umpire. All I tried to do was to be the best umpire I could be. And that's one key message I'd like you to take away, is just to be the best individual you can be in the game of cricket. But it was also very special to have friends and colleagues and family there at that event. Very clear about setting targets, working hard to achieve them, just like the players do. My first Test match was not my best one, by the way. I did make a couple of mistakes, but I came away from that game absolutely determined that if I got another shot at Test cricket, that my next Test match was going to be great. And Ranjan was there, and I did have a good game. I'm not ashamed to say that I did. even though Ranjan gave me a D. No, no, that scorecard came from Sean Pollock, who lost the match. But it was a great game, and I really enjoyed it. And it just goes to show you that the only thing that you can do after a performance is review and do better next time you get the opportunity. So there's no point looking backwards. The next photo is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek photo. It's about self-discipline. This was taken back in 2002. 2002 at Morocco. And Daryl Harper took great delight in putting all that great food underneath me and saying, away you go. The reason I raise something like this is because the difference between success and failure for me as a cricket umpire and as an individual, it's all about self-discipline. It's all about what you do behind the scenes when people aren't watching that determines how successful you're going to be. It's doing what 1% of the other cricket umpires don't want to do that determines how far you go. Self-discipline, quite simply, is the difference between success and failure in my view. To do that, I worked very hard with several coaches throughout my career, and I still work with some of them. I thank them for their help and their guidance. Coaching is just so important. The next photo. Me on the left, obviously. A young fella from Nepal, I believe, on the right-hand side. What I get out of this is an appreciation for our responsibility to be role models for others to follow. Every time we go out there and in a public environment, even here tonight, we are leading and others are observing. And we set standards for others to follow. And I take that responsibility very seriously, and I always look to try and push the bar higher when I can. Don't accept mediocrity. Don't accept poor performance, because that becomes the benchmark for the next game. We are all leaders ourselves in anything that we do, as parents, in the workplace, and even socially. People observe and take notice, and they make judgments. And cricket umpires are always under the scope of judgments. The next photo was taken just prior to the 2011 Cricket World Cup. For me, it reminds me about how to think positively. As a cricket player, they'll probably tell you that it's mostly about technique, but there's also the mental side of the game. For us, 99% of our match is between the two ears. It's about being ready for that next delivery and being ready to make a positive decision, either a positive not out or a positive out. And so every day before I'd go out and umpire, I'd write down 3 key statements. I am a good umpire, I will umpire well, and I can umpire well. Didn't always work out that way, but I tried to talk myself into it. But every great performance starts with a thought, and so does a bad one. That series, that 2011 series, provided 2 great opportunities in the semi-final when India played Pakistan. What a game that turned out to be. Just a small game of cricket up in a small place called Chandigarh, Mohali. But what a great environment. And it also taught me how to shut out all of the hype, all of the press, turned off the TV, didn't read a newspaper, and kept it as simple as I could. Tony Hill, good luck for the rest of the Ashes series. The World Cup final obviously was a great highlight, and we had a great team that day. It was a fitting finale to a great tournament, and we all enjoyed it thoroughly. Simply to get on the field in that type of environment was a great thrill, but it was never my goal for that tournament. Thankfully, Australia lost earlier on, so I got to go a bit further. The next photo, how to deal with setbacks. And there we have Mahela Jayawardena telling me what another great decision I've made. I make no secret of the fact that I've dudded Mahela a few times. But we have a great relationship. I respect him, and I believe he respects me. Nobody likes to make an error, but it happens. I believe that better umpires who earn the respect of the players get away with the odd mistake. That's the way it's been, and I believe that's the way it will always be. But I never like making a mistake. I do take it personally, I do take it to heart. But dealing with setbacks is about how we deal with that rationally rather than emotionally. That's tough. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of strength. Sometimes I find maintaining patience with the kids harder than dealing with a setback on the cricket field. But we learn from our mistakes, and the better umpires learn faster than the rest, and the better umpires make fewer mistakes than the rest. The next photo reminds me about how we've built strong relationships within the game of cricket, across all divides, across all cultures, age groups. Remember, I started umpiring guys that I stopped playing with. They were the same age as I was, both at state and international level. That provided a great opportunity, but it also provided another challenge. They certainly expected a lot more favours out of me. But it also didn't provide that natural gap of generation, if you like, of respect. So what I was really pleased about was the way that we built respect and we earned respect through performance. But through this photo, I believe that to be a good umpire, you have to be a good person. That your personal qualities do have to come through in the way that you perform. It's also great to know how to count to 6 in so many different languages, how to say please and thank you in so many different languages, and how many times people tell you how good you are in 6 different languages.